5 years, what scientists say you need to know about the sewage spill. We start the news at 4 with upset neighbors and the threat of even more snow, and we know that is not what you want to hear. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Annie Yu. A lot of us are still dealing with snow-packed streets and sidewalks. We have been driving around the city all across the DMV all afternoon and have watched pedestrians and drivers carefully navigate huge piles of snow. Crews appearing to be struggling to move it. Take a look at this. The D.C. Department of Public Works says 90 dump trucks have moved so much snow to the old RFK site that it is now just a mountain of snow, equivalent to 2 football fields long and 2 stories tall. Meanwhile, the weather impact team is keeping a close eye on another storm nearby this weekend. But before that, some of you could even see some flurries in just a few hours. Let's bring in meteorologist Caitlin McGrath. Caitlin, it's been so busy for you all tracking the system. A lot of people still curious about this weekend. Will we see some flakes or snow?
Yeah, this weekend's still very much in question, but we're also keeping an eye on what's going on tonight because Doppler radar is showing dry conditions right now, but we do have the chance to see a few flurries and flakes, and it's really right between the evening commute hours, so that's why we do want to make you aware. Of course, a lot of folks are not commuting right now, and there's so much treatment already down on the roads. I do not think it'd be any kind of issue, but a coating, some light accumulation possible here over the next several hours. This is right around 6 o'clock, and again, we're talking about super light snow showers, flurries at best, and then we continue to track those little light snow showers moving through southern Maryland by about 9 o'clock tonight. So not a big deal at all. This is just your heads up that you might see a few flakes flying around later this evening. Otherwise, it is just cold. Temperatures still in the mid to low 20s, but feeling like the teens once you factor in that wind chill. Later tonight, these clouds don't stick around for too long. We will have clearing skies as we head through the overnight hours, and feels like temperatures that once again will be in the single digits, and for some sub-zero. We've got another cold weather advisory in effect across the area. So in terms of what we're tracking for the next several days, no change here. Bitter cold through next Saturday with a storm nearby this weekend. A lot of chatter about this next potential round of snow going on, and I think if you don't want snow, you will like the way things are trending. But coming up, I'll show you the very latest on the potential tracks that we're watching for this weekend. And as we look ahead to next week, not as frigid. It will not be as cold as this week, but we are still well below average. This snow and this ice that's on the ground is not going anywhere anytime soon. So coming up, we'll talk more about when we break this prolonged stretch of extreme cold and take you hour by hour through a couple scenarios for this weekend.
Caitlin, thank you. It has been 3 days since a major snow and ice storm hit D.C. and while most main roads are now clear, some residential streets remain impassable, leaving some people still stuck at home. The district says crews are working around the clock, but frigid temperatures, as Caitlin just mentioned, and the ice continuing to slow down the progress. Sarah Robinson is live with conditions on the ground. Sarah.
Well, hey, good evening to you, Annie. We have been driving all over the district today from Northwest down to Navy Yard, and I want to show you what we are seeing. So here are the conditions at this hour. You can see that the main roads are passable, but there are still some residential areas where people say they have not had a plow at all, and even though they understand crews are doing everything they can, they're growing frustrated.
I mean, I still can't go nowhere.
Terrence in Anacostia spent his morning doing this.
It's been really difficult here, but we come together as neighbors and we work it out.
His street, a sheet of ice Wednesday, and he says he hasn't seen a plow since Sunday evening.
We didn't expect 3 inches of sleet on top of snow, so I can understand the crews. I'm sure they out working hard, just unfortunately.
Others, like Renee Jesperson and Chevy Chase, say their roads are still not passable for all cars.
It is a little disappointing, but it's okay. Well, it doesn't look like it's been plowed. It hasn't been plowed at all.
DDOT says it is working with DPW to clear roads, but asking for patience.
People need to manage expectations and be patient.
Sharon Kirschbaum, the director of DDOT, says the city is focused on making all roads passable within the next 24 hours. After that, crews will shift to hauling away snow and ice from curbs to improve sidewalk safety.
We have a lot of things that make this really hard, but we know where those streets are. We're really focused on it. It's just taking a long time.
DPW says crews have moved so much snow to the RFK site, it now forms a mound equivalent to 2 football fields. The frigid cold making conditions even more challenging.
We have been sending plows through, and I know sometimes at night when the plow gets there and it's a sheet of ice,
All right, I do want to show you this right over here. You can see these cars are stuck. When the plow goes by, it does move a lot of snow. That snow has turned to ice, so it will take a bit to dig people out, or these cars out, I should say. In just the last 2 hours, we learned that 92% of DC government facilities and schools have been cleared of snow, and all in-service school buses have been cleared of snow. DC public schools say getting students back in class is a top priority, but we know many students take those sidewalks, and of course, as you can see, a lot of those sidewalks have not been cleared tonight. I'll send it back to you, Annie.
Sarah, thank you. Well, many people living in Prince George's County are equally frustrated by the snow removal there. Tonight, we are getting you answers. Alexis Wainwright is live in Prince George's County. Alexis, what are residents telling you tonight? We've heard from so many, and what is the county saying about when people can actually expect real relief?
Well, Annie, I can tell you people are still frustrated. A lot of them are becoming more anxious. Now, just a few hours ago, we heard from Prince George's County Executive Aisha Braveboy. She says, look, they're doing the best that they can right now. She says the thing that's making this so complicated is that this is the most ice that Prince George's County has seen in more than a decade. So we're in Temple Hills. I'm going to turn the camera around a little bit, and you can see just where we are. We're not too far away from Iverson Mall. Straight ahead, though, we've noticed that a car has already gotten stuck here on this road because it's not a lot of clear way for them to pass by. Now we're going to turn onto Keating Street, again, not far from Iverson Mall, and you can tell that a plow has been through this area, but it's still very icy. We have been slipping and sliding through parts of this neighborhood, and we continue to hear from people who are seeing these conditions, but also others who are stuck at home because their streets haven't been cleared just yet. Now, during a news conference 2.5 hours ago, we heard from county leaders address concerns. Braveboy says in addition to the 120 pieces of equipment that they added this year, they now have joined forces with local municipalities and private contractors to add more equipment. She says they will shift their focus now to more parts of the central and southern part of the county as they continue to clean up.
Just understand that we are working hard. This is a tough job. Not only are we dealing with snow, but we're dealing with 2 to 4 inches of compacted ice. We understand the frustrations, we understand the concerns, but we have a job to do and we're doing it. And I want residents to know that I've made a deliberate effort to update the community daily, and in some cases multiple times a day.
So again, live back in Temple Hills, going down this neighborhood where again you can see plows have been through, but it's still very icy, slippery in this neighborhood, and people are still starting to dig their cars out so that they can get out of the neighborhood. Now, another thing we want to mention is that Aisha Braveboy mentioned her Silver Shovel program for people who are 70 years and older, to have crews come out and help dig out them and their driveways and their vehicles. Well, they have received over 4,000 requests. So now they're no longer taking a request at this moment. They say the goal is to make sure that they help all those people that put in a request before they open that list again. But again, 4,000 people shows you just how much of a need there is in the county as the cleanup continues. Now, coming up tonight at 5, much more on their plan for the cleanup process as it continues. But for now, Annie, you can tell that there's still so much work that needs to be done.
Yeah, still so much work ahead. Everyone's just working hard, and also the students not going back to school at least until Friday because of all those school lots needing to be plowed. Alexis Wainwright on top of it, thank you so much. And you will find more frustration over in Montgomery County. Here's a live look for you from our photojournalist Dion Wiggins, checking out the roads there. And just past noon today, County Executive Mark Elrich gave an update on cleanup efforts, and he recognized 2 big areas where the county is having some issues. First, it's the snowplow tracker. Take a listen.
We acknowledge the frustration and feedback from our residents regarding the accuracy of our plow tracker, showing 100% when there are still streets that need attention. I've been getting emails about those streets. The tracking system's useful, but it's not perfect.
Elrich blamed the disconnect on the way the tracker was programmed, and he said that's being fixed. He also said that the 311 system was sometimes giving false notices that a request for service had been performed. He said that is being fixed as well. The Transportation Department says overall crews have plowed at least 90% of county roads, and our team has issued a rare weather impact alert for the entire week. Scan this QR code on your screen right now to download our app. That way you can stay connected, stay up to date as we continue to track these seriously cold temperatures and the impact on winter storm cleanup. Breaking news right now, Brendan Banfield on the stand at this hour testifying in his own defense. The Virginia man is accused of killing his wife, Christine, and a man, Joseph Ryan, after having an affair with the live-in nanny, Juliana Magalese. Let's listen into a little bit of what he is saying. Let's take you live inside the Fairfax County courtroom right now.
Sir, can you see the photo on the screen, Exhibit 375?
Yes, I can.
And what is that?
Christine took a picture of me when Valerie was only a couple months old. Valerie snuggled up with me in bed.
You're going to move that in as Exhibit 375?
Any objection?
Judge, objection, relevance, and cumulative.
I'm going to sustain the objection.
Okay, we were just bringing you a portion of Brendan Banfield on the stand right now. He took the stand shortly after 3:45, really just sort of painting the picture of his life with his wife Christine before the murders took place, walking us through how the couple met, what they did, their occupations, and then also when Christine gave birth to their daughter, Valerie. So Katie Lusso is listening to every minute of this. We have this streaming live right now on WUSA 9+, which you can download for free. And we are going to continue to stream every minute of this and also bring you legal analysis. You can watch live by downloading the free app on your smart TV right now. And when you click down on your remote, you'll get these options. If you take a look on your screen right here, just tap over and you can continue watching. We'll also post his full remarks on WUSA9.com when he is done. As the one-year anniversary of the tragic mid-air collision at DCA approaches, families of Flight 5342 are hosting a memorial to honor the 67 lives lost and the unsung heroes of that day. Tonight, there is an event at DAR Constitution Hall that will feature personal remarks from family members and government officials hoping to prevent another tragedy. We'll be showing that to you live at 6:30 on WUSA 9+. And tomorrow night at 6:30, we will be airing a special marking the 1 year of the DCA air disaster and its impact, and we hope that you'll join us streaming on WUSA 9+, which you can again download right now on your TV for free. Millions of gallons of sewage flowing into the Potomac River. Tonight, scientists are warning people about the health threat. And Amazon announcing mass layoffs yesterday, what it may mean for their plans in Arlington. Caitlin.
And Annie, a lot of folks curious about the potential of a storm this weekend. I'll take you hour by hour through what we know right now and where there are still some questions in terms of the track. Plus, we'll time out when we break this cold stretch of weather.
We're back now. A big question on many people's minds. How much longer will sewage continue to spill into the Potomac River? Well, last week, a wastewater pipe burst along near the 495 interchange in Clara Barton Parkway. DC water crews have hustled to divert and stop the flow. But as Matt Gregory found out, before roughly 200 million gallons of raw sewage poured into the Potomac. Take a look.
Now, when you come out to this creek that still has sewage flowing into the Potomac River, you can actually smell the sewage in the air. Today, University of Maryland researchers came out to test the water, but they already did that last week, and they say what they found a week ago was alarming enough. As pretty as the Potomac looks, it's what you can't see that's ruining the view.
Ongoing sewage that's discharged in the river, we estimate, based on DC Water's numbers, about 300 million gallons of sewage roughly is going in the Potomac River.
Potomac River keeper Dean Nyux finds himself again at the water's edge, more than a week after a wastewater pipe burst along the Clara Barton Parkway.
It was discharging about 40 million gallons a day of sewage for at least 6 days.
Up the hill, DC water crews work to slow the flow of sewage to a trickle. The solution? Divert the sewage water to the C&O Canal, but Dean says...
Yeah, there's this stream right here. There's still sewage coming into the river. I mean, I think their estimates they've controlled about 90% of it.
Which is why University of Maryland scientists trek through the snow and ice to do a dirty job.
Yeah, so from the samples that we took a week ago, we found that these fecal indicator bacteria, so E. coli and enterococci, were 10,000 times over the recreational water quality limit.
Dr. Rachel Goldstein from the School of Public Health leads this team of researchers, sampling the water and soil to find out what other bacteria and pathogens are now in the Potomac.
The samples we're taking today we won't know about until tomorrow after we get back to the lab.
While the Montgomery County health official was on the scene, Dean would like to see more from federal and D.C. officials.
I think needs to do more to at least alert the public that this is dangerous.
Along the Potomac River, I'm Matt Gregory, WUSA 9.
DC Water says it is working with Montgomery County, DC government, and the EPA to monitor the situation.
This WUSA 9 Weather Impact Alert is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
All right, let's get you back to your forecast here because a lot of folks are talking about the potential for this weekend storm. And for parts of the country, it will be a high impact, but the trend is a near miss for our region. So this is Friday morning. The storm hasn't even taken shape yet, but throughout the day on Friday, and especially as we head into Saturday, a storm starts to develop off the coast of the Atlantic. So here we are right around noon on Friday, and this is going to be a pretty significant snow event for parts of the Carolinas down into Georgia, even parts of southern Virginia will walk away with the pretty good snow event out of this. But notice as we head throughout the day on Sunday, that storm really takes off over the Atlantic. This is 6 a.m. on Sunday. That is a really strong storm, much stronger than the last storm that we saw, but the track is just not what you want to see if you want to see snow. That being said, it is still a beast of a storm, and if it shifts farther off to the west, that would drastically change what we could potentially see here in our area. And this is a close call, not just for the mid-Atlantic, but up into the Northeast and New England. Meteorologists across the country are keeping a really close eye on this one, especially on the heels of our storm on Sunday. So right now, it's looking like it stays out to sea with a near total miss with little to no snow. But if it tracks farther to the coast, that could potentially bring accumulating snow. But I will say no scenario right now brings us significant accumulating snow. Even our worst case scenario, if you don't want snow, is about 1 to 3 inches. So much more manageable than what we were dealing with last weekend. But again, cannot emphasize enough, if that storm tracks farther to the west, our conditions and our forecast would significantly change, and a lot can change here over the next several days. So be sure to tune back in as we get some more high resolution guidance on the exact track of this really strong winter storm. Now, as far as our forecast goes over the next several days, no surprise here, we have yet another cold weather advisory for wind chill values that will be sub-zero in many locations tonight into early Thursday morning. Temperatures will be pretty similar to what we've had over the past several nights as well, waking up on Thursday in the single digits and low low teens, right around 10 degrees in D.C. and Leesburg, 7 in Manassas, 6 in Frederick, 7 in Martinsburg as well. But I do think Thursday looks a good bit breezier than today. So I do think it's going to feel colder throughout the day tomorrow. This is 6 a.m., feeling anywhere from about 5 to 15 below. So you know the drill. You've got to dress appropriately, cover as much skin as you can, limit time spent outside. And tonight is another night where I would open those cabinets for any faucets that face an exterior wall and leave a little trickle overnight. This is even lunchtime tomorrow. It still feels sub-zero across most of the area. And by Friday morning, we do it all again. Another frigid start to our Friday forecast with just one more day beyond that with these bitter cold temperatures. Saturday is going to be our coldest day this week when we bottom out with high temperatures in many locations, only in the teens, low 20s in D.C. And then we finally start to warm things up into next week. But warm really is relative because it'll still be well below average through most of next week with temperatures in the mid to upper 30s. But you know what? Even that is going to feel really good compared to the teens and 20s that we have seen so much of this week. So the weather impact alert extends through Saturday for the cold, not for the storm. We'll keep an eye on whether or not we need an alert for that storm, but it is really not looking likely right now. And then as we head into next week, lots of sunshine that will hopefully help with some of this melting, but temperatures in the mid to upper 30s and this much snow and ice pack, it is going to be with us for a really long time. And next chance to see any wintry weather beyond Saturday into Sunday would be a few flurries possible by the middle part of next week.
Caitlin, thank you. Straight ahead, we know that your money matters. We're taking a closer look at how the DOJ's probe into Fed interest rates could impact your wallet. Also, things are clicking for newly re-signed Spirit star Trinity Rodman. See her Team USA hot streak continue. We'll be right back. Well, many students are enjoying the snow days and off from school. If you're looking for something to do with the family, the National Zoo just reopened today after being closed for the snowstorm. The Smithsonian's museums and research centers have also opened today. Business as usual now. Alrighty, things seem to be going well for newly re-signed Washington Spirit star Trinity Rodman. Last night, Rodman scored again for the United States women's national soccer team, helping power a 5-0 win over Chile women's national soccer team. That goal comes just days after she scored Saturday in her first match wearing the captain's armband. A strong start to a new chapter with both Team USA and the Washington Spirit. Oh, wonderful. And preps are already underway for the Super Bowl. Crews at Levi Stadium are installing a brand new surface in just 2 days. From lights to high-tech traction tests, every detail is checked to make sure that players are safe. The Super Bowl showdown between the Seahawks and the Patriots kick off February 8th. Amazon has laid off thousands of people. What it means for plans for a second headquarters in Virginia. We'll be right back. Breaking news right now, Brendan Banfield is on the stand right now testifying in his own defense. There he is right there as we give you a live dip into the Fairfax County courtroom. The Virginia man, Herndon, Virginia, accused of killing his wife, Christine, and a man after having an affair with the live-in nanny Juliana Margulies. You can hear his defense attorney John Carroll there asking him questions, but this was a big looming question. When will Brendan Banfield take the stand after John Carroll shared with us last week that he would be? And all day today we heard from forensics experts. And just after 3:45 today, Brendan did take the stand. I don't know if we want to maybe take a listen here.
Being found out by Christine.
Okay, so the relationship continued into that October or December timeframe?
Yes.
Okay. So when you're in terms of training for people that go to Silver Eagle, is there any sort of training class or anything like that?
The first time you go there, they do a safety class, making sure that you understand the fundamentals of using a firearm, that you treat all firearms if they're loaded. You never point a firearm at anything that you're not willing to shoot. Things like that, making sure that you understand the safety mechanisms of a firearm, and making sure that you understand range etiquette, that the gun should always be pointed down range, it should never be pointed at another person, things like that.
And is this something that you knew through your training?
Yes, this is something that is also discussed in my trainings.
And so would this training that you're talking about at Silver Eagle be for someone who's never shot a gun before?
Yes, it would be for a kind of a beginner lesson.
Okay. And she went with you twice, correct?
Yes, she did.
Was there, in having her come to the range, was there any plan that she was going to back you up on some plan?
I mean, there was no plan at this point when we had gone to the range. There was none of the suspect email account. There was no FetLife account. There was no Telegram messages. None of that existed at the point that we went to the range.
Okay. Now, did FetLife or Gmail or Telegram ever exist for you?
I did not know about them until after.
It
Christine
sounds like
died.
right now, Brendan's attorney, John Carroll's asking Brendan more about the days that he took Juliana, the au pair, to the gun range. The manager of that gun range did testify previously from the prosecution side, but we have this streaming right now on WUSA 9+. This is a very complex, layered case, and so if you want to go back and watch a lot of the testimony, you can do that on WUSA 9+. Brendan Banfield, again, testifying in his own defense right now. It is very rare for media cameras to be inside the courtroom, but we have our cameras in there. Even more rare is for Brendan Banfield to be taking the stand right now. We have a legal expert standing by, Katie Lusso, watching every minute of this, so they will be bringing you a legal analysis on WUSA 9+, as we bring you back out here to our newscast here. You can watch the testimony in full. You can watch it right now by downloading WUSA 9+ on your smart TV. And if you just click over the options, just tap over, and you can continue to watch.
This WUSA 9 Weather Impact Alert is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
All right, looks like, let's go to Caitlin right now. Caitlin, looks like some kids are still enjoying plenty of snow that's left behind. And also, now that it's a little bit of that hardened snow, you might be going down even faster.
I can tell you, Annie, that our very own Chief Meteorologist Tupper Shutt took a little sled ride today, and he said just that. It is really fast. It is really quick. So thankfully he is okay. He is here today and he can tell you more about it coming up at 5. But always good to see some kiddos enjoying the snow days as they continue as we head through the next several days as the cleanup continues to try and see some improvement here. Now, Doppler radar right now still showing nothing on radar, but we do run the risk of a few flurries tonight, and it will be kind of right around that evening commute time. Granted, hopefully a lot of folks are not commuting, but this is right around 6 o'clock this evening. Some light flurries, some light snow showers, possible around the Beltway and down through southern Maryland. So again, hopefully there just aren't that many folks on the road. There's already a lot of treatment down, so not expecting any major issues out of this. Just don't be surprised if you do see a few flakes flying around later tonight. But then overnight, skies will return mostly clear and it will be cold once again as you're waking up early on Thursday morning. Live look outside from EarthCam looks beautiful, but as the sun's going down, any melting that we saw today from that bit of sunshine will quickly refreeze once again. Black ice is a threat. Now, right now we're sitting at 25 in DC, and you know what? It's not feeling much colder than it actually is. We just have a light breeze coming in from the southeast, so it is feeling like the teens. Still not exactly comfortable to be outside, but not a huge wind chill factor for this evening. Now, overnight, that wind again will be fairly calm, but it really kicks up on Thursday, so I do think it's going to feel much colder. But our weather impact alert continues through Saturday. We did extend it into Saturday for our coldest day this week. Low temperatures will generally be as low as 5 below, but over the next several nights, call it single digits and teens, with high temperatures only in the upper teens and mid to low 20s. So you know what to do. You know these good habits in the cold weather. Just continue to do them as we head through the weekend. Make sure you open the cabinets for any faucets that face an exterior wall. Trickle the faucet overnight. Trust me, a little bit of a higher water bill is worth it to not wake up with a busted pipe, and try and still limit your time outside. It is still just bitter cold over the next several days. Dress appropriately, dress in layers, and we'll get through it. But coming up, I'm tracking some slightly warmer weather as we head into next week. And of course, I'll have the latest on that potential weekend storm.
Caitlin, thank you. Our team has issued a rare weather impact alert for the entire week. Go ahead and scan this QR code on your screen right now to download our app. That way you can stay connected as we continue to track these cold temperatures and the impact on winter storm cleanup. A Kentucky mom is suing the district, demanding that DC's Office of Unified Communications release her late son's 911 call. Stephanie Clemens says her son William Ostertag called 911 in 2024 while he was suffering from cardiac arrest. According to her lawsuit, the dispatcher mislabeled her son's emergency as a seizure and sent an ambulance to his home without the proper medications on board. She says this led to her son's death. Today, Stephanie spoke virtually during a meeting with the OUC, saying that she just wants to know what happened.
I do not have an axe to grind with the 911 call center, with the OUC. I just want to know and have a right to know what happened as my son lay on the floor dying that night.
Stephanie's attorneys also say that they requested a Freedom of Information Act, but that request was denied by Mayor Muriel Bowser's office. William Ostertag was 28 years old. Amazon announcing another round of massive job cuts today. 16,000 corporate positions eliminated. The tech giant calls this part of a push to reduce bureaucracy and invest in artificial intelligence. But what does that really mean? And what does it mean for Arlington, Virginia, where Amazon's HQ2 is still taking shape? Eric Flagg joining us now for this local impact. Flagg, this is Amazon's second major round of layoffs in just 3 months. What does this all mean for them?
Well, Annie, Arlington County officials are scrambling for answers about what these cuts mean for the region. Amazon confirmed the layoffs in a blog post this morning, saying the cuts will strengthen the organization by reducing layers, increasing ownership, and removing bureaucracy. Combined with October's cuts, Amazon has now eliminated 30,000 corporate positions. That's about 10,000 of its white-collar workforce. Last summer, Amazon's CEO cited AI efficiency gains as a factor in reducing headcount. But what does this mean for local impact? Well, Arlington leaders are still trying to find out. A county spokesperson tells us they've reached out to their Amazon contacts, but they haven't heard back. They're going to issue a statement once they get answers. We checked the state's website, where companies over 100 people are required to disclose job cuts, and Amazon's corporate office in Arlington is not on that list, so that's an encouraging sign. When Amazon announced HQ2 in 2018, it promised 25,000 jobs by 2030. So far, just 8,000 employees have been hired. Meanwhile, construction on phase 2, including that distinctive spiral helix tower, remains on hold with no timeline to resume. Now, we did reach out to Amazon for specifics on whether HQ2 employees are affected, but Annie, so far, no response.
All right, Flagg, we know you'll stay on top of it. Thanks for the update. Consumer confidence is slipping and the Federal Reserve is holding interest rates steady. Next at 4, what it all means for your wallet. We'll be right back. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell laid out the reasons behind the central bank's first decision on interest rates in 2026. Karen Kafa is in Washington with that decision and what Powell had to say about the outlook for the U.S. economy. Karen, good to see you.
Good to see you, Annie. And Chairman Powell really did try to keep his focus in his remarks to reporters after the announcement on the economy, despite all that has been swirling about the debates around the Fed's independence, because this is something that really impacts every American consumer who borrows money. The Federal Reserve holding its benchmark rate steady for the first time since last July.
Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell on the central bank's first interest rate decision of 2026.
In support of our goals, today the Federal Open Market Committee decided to leave our policy rate unchanged.
The Federal Reserve taking its time bringing interest rates down and seeing little urgency, with government data pointing to slower job growth but a relatively low unemployment rate and inflation ebbing, even as consumer sentiment numbers point to Americans being in a sour economic mood.
Inflation data has been looking a little bit better and trending in the right direction. And then you have these consumer sentiment numbers really falling off a cliff, indicating that consumers are really worried about their jobs right now.
President Donald Trump sharply critical of Powell, insisting lower interest rates would spur greater economic growth by encouraging consumers and businesses to borrow and buy, spend, and hire.
I'd like to see interest rates go down. Everything else is going down. We have the energy and fuel going down.
The central bank did cut rates 3 times last year as it monitored the economic effects of Trump's policies, especially his broad global tariff plan.
And Powell did answer a question about criticism by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent of Powell's attendance at Supreme Court arguments last week around the case surrounding Lisa Cook, the Fed governor who was fired by President Trump last year due to unproven mortgage fraud allegations. Powell said he attended those arguments in an unprecedented way because it was, quote, perhaps the most important legal case in the Fed's history. Annie?
Karen, before we let you go, Chairman Powell also gave more details behind the Fed's outlook for the economy. Of course, this is on the minds of many Americans. What did he have to say about employment and inflation in the year ahead?
Well, the Fed sounded a little bit more upbeat about the labor market than they did at the end of 2025, Annie. Remember, this was something that they were watching very closely and factored into those rate cuts that they made at the end of 2025 in the fall. Powell said that perhaps the unemployment rate has stabilized here. We saw it about 4.4% at the last jobs report. Of course, something they will keep looking at as they make future decisions. Inflation remains a little bit more elevated than where the Federal Reserve would like to see it. Powell says that the Fed thinks that tariffs have kind of worked their way into the system. The pass-through to consumers is complete when it comes to any kind of price inflation that has to do with those tariffs. But again, something they'll monitor. He pointed to some weakness in the housing market, but said overall, the U.S. economy starting 2026 on solid footing. And Annie, that's a little bit different than the consumer sentiment surveys we're hearing that show Americans still don't feel great about where their finances are.
Yeah, a lot of Americans still not feeling great and a lot of uncertainty ahead. Karen, thank you so much.
This WUSA 9 Weather Impact Alert is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
Let's get to meteorologist Caitlin McGrath now. Ooh, that's a beautiful shot behind you.
Yeah, this was sent in this morning from our weather watcher, Jeannie McVeigh. She is always good for a sunrise shot around the D.C. area, and today was no exception. But you can see the water there, frozen solid. And a lot of folks are seeing these frozen areas because it has been so bitter cold and maybe getting a little false sense of security. So I do want to remind you of some ice safety tips when it comes to the thickness of ice. Any ice that is 2 inches or less thick, keep off. It is just too dangerous. You need about 4 inches of thick ice for ice fishing. If anyone's going ice fishing around here, please let me know. When it comes to snowmobiles and ATVs, that ice needs to be at least 5 to 6 inches thick, and cars and small trucks need 8 inches up to a foot of ice to go on. So chances are around here, the most you'd be doing is walking on ice, which again can be so incredibly dangerous, but that needs to be over 2 inches thick. Never go on ice unless you know for certain exactly how thick it is. I know it can be a little, encouraging or inspiring with how cold it's been and how solid so many surfaces are. We saw a lot of folks out on the National Mall on the reflecting pool, but you just never know how thick that ice really is. So best to just keep off. Now, it has been plenty cold and it will continue to be plenty cold as we head through the next several days. And there you go. By the way, medium trucks, you need even more than that. Now, we are also keeping an eye on that storm as we head into the weekend. So again, nothing really going on across the region Friday, but then by Friday night and into Saturday, we start to see this storm taking shape. This is right around lunchtime on Saturday. Snow is going to be coming down at a pretty good clip through parts of the Carolinas, even down into parts of Georgia and southern Virginia. But it's really once we see this energy work its way offshore and over water that this storm takes off. This is going to be a beast of a winter storm. It just doesn't look like it's going to impact many folks on land. For the most part, this looks like a storm for the fish, but it is a darn close call for us. And like we've been saying, if it wiggles farther off to the west, that could drastically change our forecast. We don't really think that's going to be the trend. Most of our models keep it well out to sea, but just a little wiggle west would really change things. So we really need to keep a close eye on this storm. And again, keep in mind, it hasn't even formed yet. We're going to get a lot more reliable data here over the next several days. And of course, we'll keep you posted if there are any changes to the forecast beyond the glancing blow that we're expecting right now. And this is going to be a tough call for meteorologists all up and down the East Coast, back into the Northeast and New England, because similar scenario to us, a change in that track, and we could be looking at a monster winter storm. But in the meantime, we've still got plenty of cold to keep talking about as we head through the rest of the week. This is 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, waking up to those feels like temperatures anywhere from about 5 to 15 degrees below zero. A lot of kids, of course, are out of the classroom once again, and it's a good thing. Not only is the cleanup just going so slowly as expected, but these are potentially dangerous cold temperatures as we head throughout the day once again. And kind of unlike today, I do think tomorrow does look a bit breezier. Today didn't feel too bad. I mean, it was brutally cold in the 20s, but tomorrow we're going to be hard pressed to feel any warmer than 1 to 5 degrees below zero as we head throughout Thursday afternoon. This is 11 o'clock tomorrow night, already feeling sub-zero for everyone as you're checking back in with Topper, maybe letting the dog out one more time, and then by Friday morning, even colder than that. We have several nights of these cold weather advisories ahead of us. So as far as our temperatures go, they continue to go down. We bottom out on Saturday. That's going to be our coldest day this week with a high temperature of only 20 degrees in D.C. Most of the burbs are going to stay in the teens. So as you look ahead to the weekend, you need to continue to take this cold really seriously. Even Sunday is still frigid cold, but our weather impact alert only goes until Saturday because Sunday relatively not as bad as what we're tracking for the first half of the weekend, but it's next week I think a lot of folks are looking forward to. And don't get me wrong, it's still going to be cold and below average by about 5 to 7 degrees, but it's going to be better than it was this week. That's when you know it's been cold, when the mid to upper 30s start looking really good. So the weather impact alert continues through Saturday for the cold, not for that possible storm. Of course, we'll continue to keep an eye on that storm track and let you know if we need to have any changes there, but for now it does look like it's just going to be a close call and a miss off to the east, and then next week does look relatively inactive from a weather perspective. Lots of sunshine, temperatures in the mid to upper 30s. That will help with some of the snow melt, but that snow, that ice, it is so thick, it is going to be with us for weeks. Even those temperatures in the 30s, not going to do a whole lot to help clear us out. And by this time next week, could be watching a few flurries. Not a major storm, but that would be our next snow chance beyond this weekend.
All right, Caitlin, thank you. The Grammys air this Sunday, and more artists than ever are turning to AI to help create hit records. But could AI someday win a Grammy on its own? The Grammys aired this Sunday, and WUSA 9 and artificial intelligence is already reshaping how music is written, produced, and released, or I should say it airs right here. But could an AI-generated song ever take home a Grammy? Gwen Baumgartner tracks the growing changes in the music industry.
With each note, Tom Weir's Grammy-winning music studio comes to life.
We started with drums and a bass line.
Add in the piano, vocals, and violin. With the rise of AI, this human-based harmony is less and less how music is made. A study by AI platform Lander found that 87% of artists incorporate artificial intelligence into their work.
A lot of people using it as a collaborator. They're working with it. It's their co-arranger, co-producer.
Let the haters talk, let the rumors fly.
This single, Walk My Walk, was generated entirely by AI before topping the country Billboard charts in October, raising questions about the future of music and the legal challenges ahead due to the way most artificial intelligence trains on music without attribution or permission from the original creators.
You're getting awfully close to that border between, theft and actually enabling a new form of creativity.
Musicologist Judith Fennell says an AI-generated song could one day win a Grammy Award, as does musician Jeff Babko.
AI is a casserole of past people that have created things, so I don't think it's really a fair fight.
One survey found 97% of listeners can't tell the difference between human and AI-generated songs. Grammy eligibility does allow for AI, but requires a human component, explains Harvey Mason Jr. of the Recording Academy.
If a human's singing it, we'll give a Grammy to the human singing, not to the AI writing. But we're not going to award a Grammy to the AI component.
For Babko, there's still one note AI can't hit.
Human connection, I think, is the X factor of music, which AI can reproduce, but I don't think it can replace.
We'll see how it plays out. Gwen Baumgartner, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The Grammy Awards air this Sunday at 8 p.m. right here on WUSA 9. Caitlin Topper.
That's right, and you'll be here for the news at 11 after the Grammys. Maybe a little disappointed after our weekend potential snowstorm.
Maybe a little bit. We'll see. I mean, the cold's going to continue. Might break a historical record that way. But yeah, we're still going to monitor this monster storm because a switch of 50 miles makes all the difference.
Sure. Yes, microphone check. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, who can't hear us again? Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jenny, okay.
Okay, testing 1, 2. You got me? Okay.
We are following two breaking stories for WUSA 9 News at 5. Brendan Banfield just took the witness stand in his own defense as this double murder trial resumes after weather delays.
And you can see right there on the right, we are just minutes away from an update from D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser and other leaders in the district about the city's response to this weekend snowstorm.
So a lot to get to on this Wednesday. We thank you for joining us. I'm Leslie Foster.
And I'm Lorenzo Hall. So as you know, frustrations are growing tonight over snow removal or lack thereof in some cases. We're hearing from many of you who say your neighborhood hasn't been plowed yet. So we sent our team out around the D.C. area to try and get some answers. What's taking so long to get the job done? Our Alexis Wainwright and Sarah Robinson are checking in on the cleanup efforts.
But first, let's get to the chief. Top or shut? Top, we know these seriously cold temperatures are not helping with the cleanup, and they aren't going anywhere soon, and that's really the problem.
Yeah, that is the problem. The other problem, though, is we had 4 inches of sleet, and it's just like moving, concrete. And so we got to give I mean, when you see snow plows getting stuck, you know that the snow is not normal snow, which is why we said, had it been a blizzard, we would have been back in business today. And you're right, it's not going to go anywhere. We extended our alert through Saturday for cold. Low temperatures 5 below to about 15 above, and high temperatures upper teens to upper 20s. So winter gear, open your cabinet doors. I've been letting my faucets trickle a little bit. I mean, why not? It's cheaper than a burst pipe, as Caitlin mentioned at 4. So here we go. These are wind chills. So tomorrow morning, 3 below at National, 8 below in Hagerstown. And this is pretty serious cold. This is why the kids don't have school. Look at that, 7 below down toward La Plata. By noon, we're in the single digits, but still below 0 north and west. And even by like this time tomorrow, we're still feeling between 5 and 13 degrees. By Friday, not as bad. Temperatures, are cold. It still feels like it's 6 in D.C. and feels like it's 0 out in Gaithersburg, 3 up in Frederick, and 2 up in Hagerstown. So the serious cold is why we extended this by 11:30 in the morning on Friday. We're back into the single digits and upper teens. Now we'll come back. We are still tracking the possibility of a storm. There's going to be a huge coastal storm developing offshore. The question is, how close will it get to us? And how far will it throw that snow? We'll talk about that coming up. New model data coming in as we speak.
All right, can't wait to hear what you have to say about that one. We'll see in a bit. Thank you, Top. In the meantime, let's head out to see what people are dealing with right now. People in Prince George's County say they are trapped in their homes because their streets are not plowed.
It was the same situation last year. Alexis Wainwright tracked those problems then and is getting answers tonight.
Yeah, Alexis, so what are county leaders and neighbors telling you right now?
Well, Lorenzo and Leslie, I can tell you that people are very anxious and frustrated, especially those who have been stuck in their homes for several days. I'm going to turn this camera around so you can see inside this neighborhood in Temple Hills. This is Broadwater Court right off of St. Barnabas Road. Now, thankfully, we've seen a plow come through here since earlier this morning when they didn't see a plow initially. So people are still starting to clean up here in this area, but other areas are still very slippery. Tonight, we're hearing from Aisha Braveboy, the county executive, who said it's taking a lot longer because they're dealing with a lot of ice.
We are placing a special focus at this time on our central and really southern part of the county, which has historically been left behind during storms. And so we know that's not acceptable, and we're making those parts of our county a priority.
Prince George's County Executive Aisha Braveboy addressing concerns as cleanup efforts continue.
Understand that we are working hard. This is a tough job. Not only are we dealing with snow, but we're dealing with 2 to 4 inches of compacted ice.
She says that ice is slowing down crews as they continue to try to get through county roads, especially in neighborhood streets.
I'm completely worried because it's day 4. How long are we going to be stuck like this? Like, when are we going to be able to leave?
Some residents say they still haven't seen a plow on their street. We've received pictures and videos from areas like Temple Hills, Fort Washington, Clinton, and District Heights.
We're dependent on the county. I mean, we can pay people, but it just defeats the purpose of taxes.
And that raises serious concerns, especially for elderly family members and neighbors.
I'm not sure what we can do. Also, a lot of my neighbors can't walk because they're elderly. And me and the younger people in my neighborhood have been trying to shovel, but it's not much we can do for the cul-de-sac in the hill. If we slide down, we can't get back up. So we've tried our drive. We've done our driveways. We've done our part, but the street is a major, major hazard.
Braveboy says many of those communities should start to see improvements within the next few hours.
I've directed that the county be substantially passable by midnight tonight. And so that's neighborhood streets.
She emphasizes that passable does not mean roads will be cleared down to the pavement. Some residents also say better communication would make a big difference.
And I see that they're out doing the work, but it's kind of like it would be a little bit better if we got some reassurance like, hey, we'll be at your place by this date.
I've made a deliberate effort to update the community daily, and in some cases multiple times a day.
So again, we are back in Temple Hills, right off of St. Barnabas Road. We can tell you that we're starting to see a little progress over here, but further over near Iverson Mall, not progress as much just yet. But again, they're still working to figure things out. But I can also tell you a lot of people have been curious about the Silver Shovel program that's helping people 70 years and older. They reach capacity because over 4,000 people have requested for help there. So obviously they say they're going to stop taking requests at this moment to try to get to all of those people first, and then they'll open back up that list. We know many of you have reached out about concerns with that, so we'll continue to track that and update you as we learn more. But for now, reporting live in Prince George's County, Alexis Wainwright, we'll send it back to you.
4,000.
Making a long week even longer for sure when
yeah.
you think about that.
Clearly there's a need. We know you'll stay on top of it. Alexis, thank you. Now, D.C. leaders say dozens of dump trucks are moving snow to the old RFK Stadium parking lots right now. They say the amount they've moved so far is equal to the length of 2 football fields and is nearly 2 stories tall.
But it's something to see for sure over there. And of course, 50 new snow heroes have joined in the cause in the last 24 hours. But as we're finding, just like in Prince George's County in D.C., neighbors say it's just not enough. Sarah Robinson is tracking this cleanup, a very tough one in many parts of the district. Hi, Sarah.
Well, good evening to you both. Yes, you mentioned it. Getting that snow and ice, those piles, and moving it, hauling it away has been a top priority. And you're going to want to take a look at this because that's exactly what the city is working on right now. The city says 90 dump trucks are currently picking up large snow and ice piles from street corners and hauling them here to RFK. While major roads are now clear, though, some residential streets still haven't been plowed. And for people who live there, frustration is growing.
I mean, I still can't go nowhere.
Terrence in Anacostia spent his morning doing this.
It's been really difficult here, but we come together as neighbors and we work it out.
His street, a sheet of ice Wednesday, and he says he hasn't seen a plow since Sunday evening.
We didn't expect 3 inches of sleet on top of snow, so I can understand the crews. I'm sure they out working hard, just unfortunately.
Others, like Renee Jesperson and Chevy Chase, say their roads are still not passable for all cars.
It is a little disappointing, but it's okay. It doesn't look like it's been plowed. It hasn't been plowed at all.
DDOT says it is working with DPW to clear roads, but asking for patience.
People need to manage expectations and be patient.
Sharon Kirschbaum, the director of DDOT, says the city is focused on making all roads passable within the next 24 hours. After that, crews will shift to hauling away snow and ice from curbs to improve sidewalk safety.
We have a lot of things that make this really hard, but we know where those streets are. We're really focused on it. It's just taking a long time.
DPW says crews have moved so much snow to the RFK site, it now forms a mound equivalent to 2 football fields. The frigid cold making conditions even more challenging.
We have been sending plows through, and I know sometimes at night when the plow gets there and it's a sheet of ice.
Well, in the last couple of hours, we learned that 92% of D.C. government facilities have been cleared to reopen, and all in-service school buses have been cleared of snow. But D.C. public school leaders are saying they are trying to get the kids back in school, and that is a top priority for them. But as we were out here today, we saw really large piles of snow and ice on the sidewalks. And of course, that's going to be really hard for the little ones to get over. I'll send it back to you guys.
Yeah, those sidewalks are still tough right now. It's tough to navigate.
Until you can get them really all clear, it's hard to know when you can get the kids back to school, probably. All right, Sarah, thank you.
We'll get that update from the mayor in just a moment. All right, so let's head to Montgomery County now. County Executive Mark Elridge is responding to complaints over 2 big issues with snow removal, one of them being the Snow Plow Tracker website.
We acknowledge the frustration and feedback from our residents regarding the accuracy of our plow tracker, showing 100% when there are still streets that need attention. I've been getting emails about those streets. The tracking system's useful, but it's not perfect.
Yeah, so Elrich blamed the issue on the way the tractor was programmed. He says it is getting fixed right now. He also says the 311 system had some glitches that are being addressed. The transportation department says overall crews have plowed at least 90% of county roads.
Now, Silver Spring resident Suzanne Ludlow knows a few streets that have not seen a plow. They're in her neighborhood, Long Branch.
We were pretty upset when we heard that Montgomery County had passed, done 100% of its streets. And now they've walked that back a little bit because it's clear they haven't gotten to everybody.
Suzanne carefully walked our photojournalist Dion Wiggins along some unplowed streets, one of them Reading Road.
I have a friend right up here whose mother is disabled. And there's, looks like a car that's stuck right there.
Yeah, neighbors were trying to get that car unstuck, and while we were there, we saw a family walking along an unplowed stretch of Hartwell Road, returning from the giant grocery store just a few blocks away. So, if your roads and your sidewalks are still not cleared, we want to hear from you. Text the number on your screen, 202-895-5599. Let us know where that problem is, and include a picture if you can. And then we can follow up with local leaders and try to get you answers about when the snow will be removed. All right, in the last hour and a half, Brendan Banfield took the stand in his own defense. He is the Virginia man accused of killing his wife and another man and plotting to do so with the couple's live-in nanny.
Yeah, court resumed today. Our Katie Lusso has followed this case from the very beginning. She joins us now to break down what we heard. And Katie, we know that we learned a lot about their relationship, at least from Brendan's perspective.
Right, we learned a lot and all very quickly, right? Brendan took the stand at 4:15, so less than an hour ago. Court wrapped up at 5, and my goodness, we did hear a lot. And his story, it is different than Juliana's. You know, he says that Juliana initiated the relationship between the two of them in August of 2022. He painted her as starting the conversation while he was downstairs cooking and she was upstairs, and she started sending him screenshots of her dating profile, if you will, and making comments about how a lot of the people she was matching with had similar names to Brendan. So an interesting moment there. I'm not really sure where he was going with that, but he talked about that. Then he said how she came downstairs and she really initiated that first physical touch, if you will, and then she followed him up to their bedroom. I think it's important to mention the defense attorney said, were you happy in your relationship with Christine Banfield? Did you want to stay married to her? And he said yes. He said the relationship with Juliana was just an affair, and he went on to say that it wasn't his first affair. He said he has had multiple affairs and that Christine knew about at least 2 of them. But then listen to this. He also said that Christine had affairs. So a lot really happening there in that moment.
We didn't see much emotion from him as he was talking about Christine. We haven't seen much emotion from him at all since he's been on the stand. I wonder if he's trying to paint a picture. I mean, he says one thing, but his body language and energy seems to suggest that he really didn't have any feelings for her, and that Juliana was the one who was there, was showing up to the soccer practice, was available because his wife was traveling for work, and setting it up like, well, it just sort of happened.
Yeah, and the only time we've really seen emotion for him is when the body camera footage was played, where you could hear him in the hospital being told that his wife had died. And we actually got that video today and we put it up on WUSA9.com. But that was really the only time we've seen him get emotional, if you will. Obviously, our body language expert, she said that she wasn't really buying that emotion, that it seemed a little off. And she'll be back with us in just a bit, around 5:30 tonight.
Now, you've been talking with legal experts over on WUSA 9+, watching this case play out. What are they saying about the purpose that it serves, putting Brendan Banfield on the stand?
Right, so Frank Salvedo, our legal expert, he felt like this was a bad idea. He said he did not think this should happen, and he was shocked when we saw Brendan get up there on the stand. He said the only reason the defense would want to put him up there is to kind of get that emotion from him, and we're not really seeing that. I asked Frank before he left us just a moment ago how he thought Brendan was doing, and he said a strong C-.
We didn't see any emotion at all.
Yeah, we see any emotion at all, and obviously we can look in the chat because we can see that this is on our WUSA 9+ channel, and there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of sympathy for Brendan Banfield there. And a lot of people had questions about why he was allowed to paint this picture of Christine and the fact that she's not here to defend herself, obviously.
Right, and we didn't really hear the prosecution objecting much. Frank told me that they really have to be careful here. The judge really has to let him talk because the jurors are watching not only Brendan Banfield, but both attorneys to see how they're treating him because he is innocent until proven guilty.
Correct. So what can we expect tomorrow?
Yeah, so Brendan will be back on the stand tomorrow. It wrapped up tonight at 5 o'clock, around a little after 5 o'clock, with the defense questioning him. He will be back on the stand tomorrow. Then there will be cross-examination. There were some murmurs about possibly having another witness or two come back up to the stand, but nothing set in stone. I will say the prosecution and the defense said they should be ready to give the jury instructions by tomorrow. I will mention, though, that there is going to be court on Friday. So because of the snow and everything, they did check, and the jurors are available Friday. So there will be court Friday from 10 to 4:30.
So you're suggesting that there's a possibility that the jury could actually get this case and begin pondering it next week,
even as early as this week.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
All right.
Moving. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you for all of your updates and watching every moment of this trial.
And we'll be back at 5:30 with Janine Driver, our body language expert.
We'll hear what she has to say.
Yeah,
She's
absolutely.
good. All right, you can watch every moment of this trial, by the way, streaming live on our free WUSA 9 Plus app and on the WUSA 9 YouTube page. There you'll also find highlights with our legal experts providing analysis of this case. Again, more on that in just a minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, the big thing we're talking about now is, we're just kind of still trying to dig out of the storm we had. And then
it's these temperatures.
The temps are just ridiculous. 3 below zero. This is 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. It's just as well the kids aren't in school, I guess. 8 below in Hagerstown, 6 below in Martinsburg, even La Plata, 7 below tomorrow morning. We'll come back. Another run just came in on our weekend storm. We'll talk about that in a minute.
So we're still waiting for a snow response update from DC Mayor Muriel Bowser, and like all of our jurisdictions around the area, everybody is kind of doing this push and pull, trying to figure out how to get things cleared as soon as possible. We will go back to hear the state of things from the mayor as soon as she starts speaking.
This WUSA 9 Weather Impact Alert is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
It's really that ice top still.
It is the ice. If it had been all snow, we would not have these problems. Snow plows wouldn't be getting stuck, and certainly people's streets would more likely be plowed. Caitlin and I were talking. No one has any idea how many miles of roads and side streets these folks have to plow.
You just worry about your street.
Right, you worry about your street.
Where's my street? Those are the only streets that exist, right?
And then you start thinking about your street, and you're like, oh, my street has 4 little streets off of it. Okay, now it's a bigger
but then
street.
some people say they haven't seen plows at all, so understandably you'd be frustrated.
I can understand that because that means they can't move.
Yeah.
No, you can't
stop.
You can't move this stuff. Okay, let's go back in time, shall we? 1922.
Oh,
Our biggest snow ever. The Knickerbocker storm.
Imagine the complaints back then.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, with this.
I mean,
what happened?
Yeah, that was. I mean, it caved in. It was just horrible. 100 patrons were killed, and it was like 28 inches, the 27th to 28th of January. Between like here in Philly, 36 inches of snow on the ground drifts to 16 feet.
And of course, then they didn't have nearly the kind of mechanical prowess that we have now.
Okay, so let's talk about our weekend storm. Okay, it's still a possibility. It's looking pretty remote. This is the American model. This morning has a little bit of snow in southern Maryland, but I want you to sort of see the gradations of blue. See the heavy blue? Norfolk, the Piedmont, and also all the way to the coast of North Carolina. The European model has just a glancing blow for our friends in southern Maryland. To give you perspective, though, most models take this storm or deepen it into a 968 storm, millibar storm. The superstorm of 1993 was only 960. So that's a pretty hefty storm. So yes, it can go out to sea, a total miss, or closer to the coast, and we get some accumulating snow. Not writing it off yet, but I think we're fairly safe in the immediate metro, at least west of 95. Now, Caitlin and I, we fought over this. We got it down, though. 35% chance of seeing flakes. This time last week was 100%. Okay, I got to go back to you guys.
Yeah, give us a second, Top. Let's get back to Mayor Bowser. We told you we were monitoring this press conference she's giving about the snow removal process in D.C. Let's listen.
To the many people who have been working day and night for the last 5 days in the lead up to this storm and responding to this storm. I want to thank them for being away from their families, for working in some treacherous and very cold conditions, and really delivering on cleaning up after a storm that in cold weather that's been kind of unprecedented in the way it presented in this region. We know that we got some snow and then I don't know how many hours of raining ice, and now we have had many more days of very cold weather that has turned that snow and ice into solid, almost concrete-like conditions. Our approach, our values when we go into these responses are very simple. How do we keep people safe and how do we get open? And that has been our focus over the last 2 days. So over the course of the presentation, I'm going to ask my team to address what the weather conditions have been, what our expectations are in the next several days. Want to talk about roadway conditions. We want to talk about our government operations from our office buildings, public safety buildings, schools, and the like. And then we also want to talk about how we're going to get kids back to school. Because of the very hard work of all the people involved and neighbors who have been digging out and cleaning out, we will be able to open school tomorrow. DC Public Schools will be open in the district, and we will operate with a 2-hour delay on Thursday and Friday. Our OSSI buses, our Metro buses, and Metro Rail teams have also been working around the clock to be ready to transport people going to work and people and our young people going to school. We will continue to keep everyone updated of any modifications we need to make to our government operations. But we were able to open the government on Tuesday, and we had some modified operations, but a big thank you to DGS and teams at DPR who were able to get our facilities ready for our employees and our residents who need direct city services. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Clint Osborne, who is our director of HCMA, and Clint is going to give an update, and we'll also be able to get some readouts from our government leaders on the snow team. Clint.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I first want to talk a little bit about why this storm was so exceptional and also in many ways exceptionally dangerous. First things first, it started as far west as New Mexico. It impacted the entire Mid-South as well as the Mid-Atlantic. All of our neighboring states and our big cities are all digging out, some more than others. What's particularly impactful for us is that this storm started by dropping 4, 5, 6 inches of snow throughout the district, and then it switched and dropped 4 inches of frozen rain and sleet. And what that really meant is that we had snow covered in a very thick layer of ice. Those layers of ice and snow have quickly turned into what we call snowcrete. It's a dense, icy, and complicated, compacted layer. It makes it both difficult to traverse, to walk across. It also makes it difficult to remove. Our snow team can talk a little bit more about how that has impacted our operations. We have a second risk here, and that is that we are in an extreme cold spell that is one of the longest that we've had in quite a long time. The current forecast is for 10 days of projected temperatures where the high is at or below 32 degrees, frequently in the 20s, and our lows will get into the negatives, as low as -3 or 4 several days this week at the 7 o'clock hour a.m. This is going to be one of the top 5 longest running cold streaks on record, and that is a dangerous thing for our community. Some models suggest that the streak of freezing days could go as far as February 3rd and 4th. And if it reaches February 4th, it would be the longest streak that we've had since February of 1895 and February of 1936. And I think it's really critical to understand that we're managing for both of these risks to our community at the same time, and both of those risks have had an impact on our operations. We will, as I said, we'll continue to see cold temperatures all week. It's going to stay cold. It's going to be extremely cold at night. We're also continuing to monitor, as many of you probably are aware, the potential for snow this weekend. We're working closely with National Weather Service, who is here with us in the building today. They are not confident in it, but if the storm does boom, it could leave us up to 4 additional inches of snow. We will continue to monitor that closely in the days ahead. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Director Anthony Crispino from our snow team to talk about our operation status.
Thanks, Director. So since the end of snowfall, the men and women of the Department of Transportation and the Department of Public Works, who combined make up the DC snow team, have been working 24/7 to address the snowfall that the district received. We have been out, our men and women have been working tirelessly to clear the 4,416 road miles in the district. And I can report that while it is very challenging based on the conditions that were just described, the extreme low temperatures at night coupled with the ice that was deposited as the storm left the system, as of today, the snow team has gotten the district roads 85 to 90% navigable by car. That said, we know that there is still work to do. We are sending out QC teams and working with 311 to identify areas of service calls so that we can focus our resources. And we will, in the coming days, be focusing on those particular areas that have proved very problematic given the low temperatures and the inability to move the snow by plow. We are going to, as indicated on the slide, we're going to start moving in new heavy machinery on some of the more problematic streets to break up the hard pack or the snowcrete, and then get it out of the way so that it's passable, with the goal of making sure that everybody can navigate the streets safely. In addition to the municipal services that are already out in the streets and have been all week, we have brought in additional equipment to address the snow that, unlike storms of the past, would melt after a few days. The snowfall has lingered in large piles. I think everybody's seen them. So we brought on 3 contractors, and we're using heavy machinery throughout the district to scoop and haul the materials and then take it over to RFK, where we have a snow field developing for storage. I'll turn it over to Director Kirschbaum to give a little bit more detail about the scoop and haul operations and where we've been focusing.
Great. Thanks, Director. And I'll tell you, this is a different kind of deployment. Normally, we very much focus on moving the snow, and then Mother Nature gives us a break, and within 2 or 3 days, it's gone. But the snow has not been going anywhere. So the hauling operation is going to be our new focus. It started last night. We began in the downtown core throughout a number of highly pedestrianized areas. Starting actually on Tuesday, we began clearing the freeways and the bridges, 395, 295, all of the ramps, and that's going to continue on for the next few days. I know there are some traffic disruptions. We do have to have some caravans that are involved in the hauling, so be patient. We're going to try to clear out as quickly as we can, but this operation does take up a significant amount of space. Starting tonight, we're going to be hitting Connecticut Avenue, Wisconsin Avenue, 16th and Georgia Avenue. And again, we'll be clearing out all of the snow that's been in piles in the curb cuts. We know that even if the streets are cleared, it's really been challenging for pedestrians because they just can't clear the streets. So getting the snow out is critical. And I think you're going to start to see over the next few days big changes. We're hopefully going to be able to end the no parking on snow emergency so that cars that are on the smaller streets can move out there, and then we can really get a little more of the snow along the curbs on the residential roads as well. But thank you for your patience. This has been a haul. This has been far more challenging than snowstorms we've seen in the past few months, and do want to just commend our amazing snow team. It's been grueling. The people that are doing this work, we've got engineers, we've got traffic control officers, they're all being deployed to do this, and just really grateful for their energy and great work.
Delano, Director Hunter, would you provide a update on DGS's work around government facilities? And let me also announce that DC government will continue to operate on a 10 a.m. opening tomorrow.
Thank you, Mayor Bowser. I'd like to thank you for your support, and also my colleagues around the table for your collaboration during this storm and in the aftermath. The Department of General Services has purview over the approximately 450 government-owned properties throughout the district. And as of today, 98% of those properties are cleared and ready to open, and we'll get to 100% overnight. And of those 450 properties, approximately 130 are schools. And with schools, we're approaching the high 90 clearance rate. And we'll do around-the-clock QA/QC with our team, DCPS leadership, and also the MOKers to ensure that if we miss the spot, we'll go back tonight. And overall, we feel really good about where we are. Our focus will also primarily not just be parking lots and sidewalks, but also primary, secondary entrances and ADA entrances. And separate from the snow, we remain vigilant with the cold temperatures. So we're monitoring for any pipe breaks, any HVAC difficulties given these extreme temperatures, and we'll be prepared to support.
Thank you. Randy, would you provide an update from Metro? And it is very important. Frequently people ask, like, what are some of the things that you look to in making opening decisions? And one of the biggest ones is how mass transit is functioning. And so we want to thank Metro for being a great partner in the district and the region.
Great. Well, thank you, Mayor. I always appreciate having me here, and just the collaboration with you and the DC government is fantastic, and we appreciate all the partnerships. So, I want to thank first of all, I join with the mayor and just really recognize thousands of Metro employees that for the last 5 days have been working 12 to 15-hour shifts. We've had people up in hotels, people commuting all across our region, just through sometimes treacherous conditions to serve this community, and I just want to always tip my hat. I've been out with them today, last few days, and they're just working really hard. Also want to again double down and thank especially our DPW, DDOT, and then quite frankly VDOT, MDOT, all of our regional partners. This is a team sport, and none of us can do it together by ourselves. So just really want to acknowledge that. And then lastly, thank our customers. It's been a challenging time, just like you all with your residents of DC, of which I am one. And I'm good, by the way. No complaints from this. I just want to make clear. And we know that it hasn't been perfect out there, but we are working really hard as a team, and just thank our customers for patience. So I just got a text. The good thing is we continue to open bus routes. Currently, we have 122 of our 126 bus routes are actually operating, which is a significant increase day after day. Of that, 53 of the 54 routes in DC are now operating. Now, some of those are on detour, and it's really important that customers go and they look at our website, WMATA.com/snow, use Metro Pulse or other real-time tools to understand those detours. And some of those could be even potentially school detours. So we please advocate for people to look at the detour information. And over the course of the night, we hope to release some of those detours, again, working with DPW, DDOT, and our partners on that. In Maryland, 41 of 41 routes are now open, and 28 of 31 in Virginia are now open. So really appreciate how much work is being done on the bus side here. On the rail side, today we ran really good service, better than expected. We beat our weekend service goal. In a lot of ways, we ran normal weekday service. And by tomorrow, I'm happy to announce we will run normal 100% weekday service out on the system. Metro Access, we've actually delivered 7,000 trips, Mayor, since we started this for people that have medical essential trips since the storm, and we will continue to run normal service on Metro Access tomorrow. Want to highlight, since the storm on Sunday, we believe by close of business today, we've actually will have transported 1 million customers since the storm on Sunday. Even on Sunday, we had almost 70,000 people out on the system. So I think it really shows the value of Metro continuing to move the region, even when it's very impassable conditions out there. Want to hit the bus stops. That is the number one concern to really call out. I know Sharon's been getting a lot of phone calls. Mayor, I really appreciate you and I have been talking a lot. Kevin, working on these bus stops. We have our teams out deployed in the city, being a partner on that. I know we have about 800 stops now cleared, and we'll be working overnight as well. All the priority ones are done, and we will be doing QA/QC as well, and then we'll continue to go back. All Metro stations, I've been out to a lot of them, should be cleared and we believe safe and ready for operation. And we're going to continue to work and help our partners with sidewalks and things of that nature. So I think, Mayor, that takes it all. Again, I just want to really reiterate, WMATA.com/snow, Metro Pulse, anytime, and Metro Alert. So please follow real-time information, especially on potential detours, especially probably early in the morning. So thank you again for having me on the partnership.
Thank you, and thank you for the continued partnership. I know DDOT and Metro are out cleaning Metro stop shelters and bus stops, which is hugely important. And Chancellor, I know that you've had the opportunity to get around to a lot of the schools, and I want to turn to you.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to say to all our families, student and staff, safety is always paramount. We've been assessing the conditions around the district to ensure that we're able to open successfully. Those are decisions that we take very seriously in our assessment of weather conditions, travel safety, and also campus readiness. Again, I want to shout out to all of my colleagues who've been working hard. Thank you, Mayor, for your leadership to ensure that, one, we were able to have a successful effort around preparing our campuses, but also adjacent side streets as well. Feel very confident in all the assessments that we've done over the past few days to ensure that our campuses are ready. Reminder, though, to families that it still will be cold tomorrow morning, so we want everybody to dress for the weather. We will also ensure that there's proper supervision on our campuses and ready to receive students. And then again, reminder that we will be on a 2-hour delay for tomorrow and also on Friday. Also want to reiterate the information Randy said about Metro Transit. We want all of our families to watch carefully for any updates around detours for bus transportation for tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now I want to turn to a few other more cold weather updates, and I'm going to ask Rachel, Rachel Joseph, our director of DHS, to talk about how we're supporting vulnerable residents.
Thank you, Mayor. So I really want to say thank you to the mayor and the team to really put all of the resources available for us in order to keep our neighbors experiencing homelessness safe. And really thank you to all of our partners at DGS, DPW, DPR, because it's really been a team effort. We have over close to 1,700 beds activated for neighbors experiencing homelessness. We've been able to get an additional 100 neighbors inside since the beginning of the snow. We are happy that we currently do not have any reported cold-related injuries in our homelessness population. We continue to provide outreach every day for our neighbors who continue to choose to stay inside, continue to encourage them to come in, but we bring the resources to them when they choose not to come in. Our shelter hotline continue to operate 24/7, and we've been providing transportation to shelter for all of our neighbors who request a shelter bed. The message is still the same. We have beds available for anybody who wants it. So anybody who's still outside who requires shelter, please call the shelter hotline at 202-399-7093, 202-399-7093, and we will provide the transportation to pick up our neighbors. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor Pia, would you give a brief out on our other facilities?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. So just like all of my colleagues, reiterating thanks to all of those in government, our government partners at DPW, DGS, DDOT, and across the system that have helped us to make sure that in public safety and justice that we've remained open and ready to answer calls throughout the storm. So OUC fully operational, our secure facilities at DOC and DYRS, absolutely no issues with heat or any of those things, continuing to conduct virtual court with our partners at the court and working to clear so that the courts can open. And of course, MPD and Fire EMS who have been out answering calls. And so we encourage, what we would say is we are seeing our residents using 311, both the app and calling, and we encourage you to continue to do that. And we will be working with our partners to address those calls, and like Director Crispino said, to help us to really be doing some of our QA/QC on the quality of our roads. And I think that's it.
Okay, so we wanted to spend a good amount of time giving you the briefs, and these are how our briefings go, but much longer, about how we are making sure we have the resources so that each of our snow team members can do their work. So with that, we're able to take a few questions. Yes.
I think a lot of people have questions as well about trash removal plans, as well as about alleys, which perhaps go hand in hand, and a lot of cars are still trapped in alleys and things like that. So what is the strategy going forward?
Well, we will have more to say about trash in the coming days. We missed the first trash because all DPW operations have been focused on snow. So it was on Monday, and those are the super can routes. And so I have asked the team to prioritize the city cans. Those are the litter cans that you see on the streets, and I believe we have already begun those operations. And then twice a week collection, which I think we're going to start making attempts for twice a week collection. I won't say a day now because we're still working on that plan. And when I say twice a week, they have smaller cans. And then we will be able to talk about the super can collection. Yes.
Hi there.
Hi.
Mayor Bowser, I know in the beginning of this storm you'd really cautioned folks about taking it seriously, that it could be a deadly event. As we go into this cold stretch now, I wonder what your appeal would be to our residents about continuing to take that seriously. I believe Annapolis just reported its first weather-related death.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, and we've heard other weather-related deaths. And we don't have any to report, and we want to keep it that way. I really want to thank our teams at DHS, our contractors that work with the DHS teams who know our residents, and our residents trust them. They'll get on warming buses, and they have come into shelter. I don't know if we know an exact number, but we've had a number of people to come into shelter, so that's a good thing. And if we have them in shelter, we have a better chance of connecting them to more permanent housing. And so we're very aggressive about being out there. And, Rachel has already talked about a strategy that we use using buses, getting people to shelter that they trust. Yes, and yes.
I think that people also, if there's any clarity you can provide or estimate on just when exactly there might be like 100% clearance of residential streets, and just like an expectation of when it will be back to normal.
Normal? What do you call normal? Okay, so this is what we know, that when the number that has been reported are passable streets, that means likely there's been a plow, could have been a couple of plows, could have plowed in your car. And so I'm learning that people mean by normal, they just don't mean cleaning the street. They mean that sometimes they mean they want their car dug out. That's not what we're reporting. What we were reporting is our plows having gone down and the streets being passable. And we're very close to being able to report that. We have always, and we have a lot of people going out, we report, we report it, then we have somebody to go verify it to make sure that the street has been touched and is passable. And in other cases, there's going to need to be another intervention, like going back and scooping the snow off the corners and making sure that people can actually cross the streets. So those are those things. I think as long as we're experiencing this deep cold, we're scooping a lot of snow. We're going to continue to scoop a lot of snow. And as we have that snow off the streets, I think it's going to look more normal in terms of walking. We do need people to continue to focus on their sidewalks, businesses and residents to continue to focus on their sidewalks.
To some of the people who have felt this frustration or wanted it done faster, or maybe have wanted more communication, like what is your response just to the general, some just dissatisfaction? And is there anything that, just looking at the response so far, that you think could have gone differently or that might inform us?
After every big event, we do a deep dive to see how we could have responded better, and I'm sure we're going to learn some things from this response as well. I've responded to a lot of snowstorms, and people around the table have seen more. This kind of combination of snow, I call it like ice rain, cold. I'm not really sure that we have seen that combination like that. So I think some adjustments that we made early on are paying off, especially moving to a scooping operation, which is making it, I know it's going to make it a lot easier for people to walk and to get to the bus stops, just moving the snow. And I think this is what I know. Whatever call we make about school, somebody's mad. And so we just have to use our best judgment once we are able to clear our facilities, once people are able to use the bus to get to work and to get to school, to get open. And that's where we are. Yeah. Oh, you too got the whole show to yourself.
Mayor Bowser, can you speak a little bit more on the decision to suspend those fines for sidewalks, particularly in light of the fact that kids are going to be going back to school tomorrow and have to walk to the bus stop?
Yeah, we will revisit that as conditions improve. I mean, if you think people are frustrated now, give them a ticket for snowcrete. They can't move. And so we want people to move it. Pay somebody if you can. Chip at it yourself if you can. But this is not a permanent suspension, and we will revisit it at the appropriate time. All right, everybody, stay safe. Thank you.
We now return to our previously scheduled program, already in progress.